I recently discovered that my husband has been at least sexting with a friend of mine. He says it did not get physical, but it would have if they had not been caught. What made you cheat? And is it worth trying to stay? Story 1. I will be transparent. If they are doing this now, they will do it later. I have experienced 3 years of mental exhaustion from this. It is a never-ending rabbit hole, and the trust is severely damaged and irreparable. This is likely not the first time either. I am truly sorry you are going through this. You do not deserve it, and I need you to know it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with his need for external validation, which is very unfair to you. Story 2. You know what is worse than cheating? Cheating with a mutual friend or person. I can try to understand cheating with a stranger, but a friend or family member of mine is where you absolutely cross the line. Story 3. No. Why go out for ground beef when I have steak at home? It feels good to know that I could if I wanted to. But at some point, I always explain to female friends or coworkers that I'm not going to hang out with them alone or text them much outside of some sort of group chat. Out of respect for my wife. She's not abnormally jealous. I'm not abnormally respectful. This commitment. And what do I get in return? A similar level of respect. I expect that she is also not getting close to other men or seeking alone time. This is what commitment looks like. You stay off the slippery slope. Forever. Hell yeah. Story 4. Kind of. Had thought about it. Was looking around. Just a lot of bad times between us. Lack of understanding. Me not being able to be everything she wanted me to be, and her not seeming to care what I wanted or getting angry when I did tell her I wanted something. A lot of baggage we brought in with us. A lot of me being raised by an abusive single mother and her being raised by an abusive single mother. I think we got together as some kind of trauma bonding. Then we just kept piling it on. Got to a point where we were both kind of okay and decided to have kids. If you don't know the weak spots in your marriage, that will surely point them out for you. Really thought about leaving. Talked to some people, started looking at divorce lawyers. But I kept coming back to, am I really going to do my kids to the same messed up life I had? Surely I can do something to make this woman happy. So I doubled down, started doing research, realized everything was a competition with her, so I took her out of the equation. If something's wrong, it might as well be my fault. Taking ownership of everything has helped a lot. Kind of took the reins from her. Turned out that's what she needed. Things are getting better. Still see someone from time to time and think maybe that one would be easier somehow. Maybe we'd just click and everything would be nice. But I think that's a lie. I think they're all work once the weight of real responsibility shows up. And I don't think that's really a bad thing. Our good times are great. Our bad times are unbearably miserable, but our good times are great and they're slowly becoming the rule rather than the exception. When she's happy and the kids are happy, then I'm happy enough. I've drawn a lot of short straws in this life. All you can do is make the best of them. Story 5. Lack of sex at home. I know it's cliché, but temptation is much harder to resist if needs are not met at home. Even bringing up sex with my ex-wife made her spiral. I couldn't flirt with her or she would feel bad because she knew we were not having sex often enough. So, I stopped flirting and stopped talking about sex entirely. We were basically roommates and co-parents. We slept in separate bedrooms, we did not cuddle, and we did not flirt. I had more romance with random ladies at the gym than I got at home. If she had gotten over it, if she had talked to me, if she had sought help or done anything to try to save the relationship or put in any effort at all, it might not have ended in divorce. We are happily divorced now and much better friends than we ever were partners. Story 6. No. Never have and never will. I am not a particularly religious person, but on our wedding day I stood in front of family, friends, and the idea of some higher power, and made a promise to forsake all other women for my wife. I gave my word that I would be loyal and true until the end of my days. One of the things my father always hammered into my brain when I was growing up is that a man's word holds value, and promises made are promises kept. Story 7. I would strongly suggest individual therapy. I recommend taking some time to talk through your emotions with someone. This situation is too nuanced for Reddit. Story 8. I developed feelings and got too close to a coworker. It was an inappropriate friendship. She even sent me some risque, but not nude, pictures. There were multiple reasons why I let it get to that point. The main reason was her drinking and my dissatisfaction with our relationship because of it. She was getting blackout drunk several times per week, peeing on the floor, drunk driving, passing out on the ground, hiding all of her cardboard wine bottles, and more. We tried to move beyond it and relocated to a different city. It did not work, and we split up. Regardless, I knew it was wrong, but I justified it at the time. Story 9. I cheated. I had to be fully honest to give us a chance. That he is saying it would have gone physical is a step in the right direction. The issues need to be dealt with. Only you and he know the issues so far or will know in the near future. Only the full, hurtful truth right now will make this work. My wife explained it to me this way. Full honesty today is like a punch in the face from Mike Tyson. It is going to hurt, but you can start to heal almost immediately. Drip-fed truths are like a punch in the arm once a week for a year from Mike Tyson. It will hurt less, but it will hurt longer, and the healing cannot start until it is over. So if he can be fully honest with you, if he can be patient with your digging, investigating, lack of trust, and questioning for the next 6 months to a year, then yes, it can work. The reason is he is being honest, and that gives it a chance. If the full truth does not come out now, if another truth slips out later, then the chances of you ever regaining trust are very slim. Story 10. I've never been unfaithful personally. That said, the older I get, the more I observe that many situations in life are less black and white than we often like to think. While some cheaters seem to be motivated purely by opportunism or selfishness, with everything being great and their partner having done nothing wrong, many appear to be motivated or made more willing by significant festering problems at home, especially ones that show no progress despite multiple attempts by the eventual cheater to improve them. That makes it both more and less difficult to fix. More so because there are more layers of problems, less so because those problems are better than having no reason at all besides, because I could or I thought I could. I have observed some situations where it seemed to be a wake-up call to actually take the underlying issues seriously rather than continuing to brush them off. Some of those people have put in the work to fix the issues together and appear to be doing fine long-term or happier than before. I cannot say for sure if they truly are. So I will ask a straightforward question. Are you sure nothing has changed about your relationship dynamic before this happened that might be playing a role? Story 11. As someone who has not cheated, I can tell you why I would consider it. I am done dealing with the stress she is actively choosing. She looks for even the smallest reason to be upset for hours, which does not even have to involve me, and I am always the one to deal with the fallout. I cannot absorb any more of the constant negative mood. It has led to the death of intimacy and the ability to enjoy each other's company. My empathy has been so overtaxed that I do not really care anymore. I have to fake caring about 75% of her problems because she is the root cause of most of them and could choose to stop the misery at any time. The thought of cheating has absolutely nothing to do with her. It is a desire to fulfill basic relationship needs that my wife has unilaterally decided are no longer a priority. Story 12. A friend of yours? That is not okay. He stopped only because he was caught? That is not okay. I do not see how this is something that can be worked through. Story 13. No, and also don't try to find an excuse for your husband. Accept it and move on, no matter how much it hurts, or stay and live with the insecurity that he will do it again. In most cases, they do. Story 14. In this instance, no matter the reason, moving forward will be impossible in my opinion. He is trying to sleep with your friend, and she was clearly receptive. If you keep him, you will effectively lose the ability to have any more friends because you will logically wonder what they are capable of doing with your husband. Story 15. Years before we met, my ex-girlfriend had a years-long affair with her married boss. We talked about it, mostly me trying to understand her feelings about infidelity, remorse, and empathy. Her thought process was essentially, he was the married one and he said he was struggling in the marriage. I had no culpability. Apparently, the affair ran its course, my ex moved jobs, and they became happier in their marriage. Ultimately, the way she expressed her feelings told me that she did not value relationships the same way I did. Seemed genuine enough to me, But who knows? It seemed like he was struggling in his marriage and looked for emotional support where it was easy, in a single, younger coworker who wasn't interested in marrying him. For what it's worth, I came to understand through therapy that my ex's reaction to the affair and my questioning was due to shame and required a safe and compassionate response. Infidelity is the result of something missing in your relationship. That person is lashing out because of it, and most likely they feel shame. The easiest thing for you would be to shun him and shut him out. He probably feels like he deserves that. However, if you want to salvage it, you can. It requires a safe and compassionate response from you as well, in understanding and forgiving what could lead to infidelity, and working to fix that between you two. Of course, some people are just nasty and don't have the emotional intelligence to see these things. We don't know your husband, and only you can determine whether this is a slip in character for him or a defining trait. People are people. People mess up and hurt the ones they love, but their mistakes don't always need to define them forever. I realize this is a different perspective than what you were asking for, but hopefully it helps nonetheless. Story 16. I have never cheated, but I have been cheated on. You will never work through it because you will never trust him again, and rightfully so. He will get too close with a female friend, have periods when he has to work late or go out with friends and stay out late, and you will think he is cheating even if nothing is actually going on. He will get upset and say, "It has been 4 years. When are you going to start trusting me again?" You will realize you never will, and you will divorce after wasting for more years. It is better to do it now. Story 17. Cheating is never worth staying with the person. Trust is gone, and then the worry begins. Are they cheating on me when they go out drinking and dancing with friends? Can I trust them not to give their number to a random person again? It is simply not worth it. It is harder to leave if you have children, but in my experience, the worry and broken trust are not worth it. Story 18. I am not sure if my answer would count. I cheated on previous girlfriends, but never my ex-wife. My reason is also a bit unique, to say the least. In middle school, I was sexually assaulted by a high school girl. I was a freshman in middle school. She was a senior in high school. She ended up telling her high school friends about my naturally gifted size, and next thing I knew, I was the toy for the high school girls. Eventually, it became engraved into my brain. Hey, sleep with any girl that wants to sleep with you, because you're just a meat toy anyways. So even when I was in a relationship, if a girl wanted me, I would just give it to her. I hated myself for it the entire time because I had always prided myself on how kind I was. Like genuinely kind, not just the nice guy assholes. How kind was I really if I kept cheating? That fed into my entire self-hatred ordeal, and I just couldn't stand it anymore. Long story short, a lot of drugs happened, and I tried to kill myself via crossbow to the head. After surviving that and enduring being fully conscious throughout the entire surgery, I swore to make a change. I wanted to be happy with myself. I wanted to be able to fully see myself as the kind person I aspired to be. So I started getting better. It took a long time to get off drugs, especially while married to someone who was also on drugs, but I've been clean for quite a few years at this point, except for medical cannabis for phantom pains, which I used so I could stop taking oxycodone. The funny thing is karma came back to bite me. My ex-wife cheated on me with my supposed friend at the time, which is why we got divorced. I lost a wife and a friend that day, but I gained a great deal of self-respect and confidence from it. So now I am kind of just biding my time, half-heartedly looking for a partner while mainly focused on myself. Story 19. Why downvote honest answers to the question the original poster asked? Opposing views help us get closer to the truth or the matter being discussed. Story 20. Someone once told me it was just for the thrill. Whether it is worth staying or not is something only you can decide. Story 21. Overall, no, I would not try to work it out if my partner cheated, so I would not expect it to be worked out if I did. Story 22. Not worth it. As someone who was cheated on by my first girlfriend, an ex-wife, a long-term girlfriend, and an ex-fiancé, I have learned two major problems. First, you are hurt by the cheater. He was hurt by some other distant people in his past. Those are two very different things. You cannot love away those past people, and you cannot know when you have or have not healed those past hurts. Did you know he had those past hurts this badly before you found out he was cheating this time? No. So you cannot know in the future. The cheater does not feel your confusion and betrayal. He still feels his hurt, and it will always come back. Now you know that cheating is one way he will use to soothe himself. Second, if you stay, no matter what he says, he has seen through your actions that he can remain in a relationship with you while he is cheating and after he is found out. From my own experience, none of the women who cheated on me really saw their own cheating as the actual problem. I spent up to 3 more years trying to have a relationship after the cheating. While it caused lasting damage to me to see my every effort eventually be meaningless to the success of the relationship, they all kept cheating with either the affair partner or someone new. You will probably be better helped in life by demonstrating self-respect for your own benefit than by suffering through trying to work it out. Life is much harder when you lose your self-respect. Story 23. Looking back, it was never worth trying to make it work with the cheaters I dealt with. In your case, I would say absolutely not. Story 24. I cheated because I was married at 20 years old. I wasn't mature enough to speak up when I was unhappy. We had been intimate before marriage, but after marriage, it was no longer something she enjoyed and was only for procreation. According to her, I was scolded and belittled or accused of cheating if I masturbated. I was expected to sleep naked next to her. Otherwise, she said, I didn't love her, but if I got an erection, sex was all I ever thought about. There were many other red flags, but ultimately I made the decision to step outside of my marriage. I regret that decision to this day, and I've been divorced for over 20 years. I've always been upfront about my past and my decisions. I would never do it again. In my experience, there is a justification for why people step outside of their marriage. Figuring out that reason is key to understanding why. More importantly, does it even matter? Would it change your stance? Only you know that. But also remember, there is such a thing as forgiveness. The adage, once a cheater, always a cheater, isn't always accurate. Story 25. I have never cheated, but I have met a few people who have cheated or were cheating and were open to talking about it with me. From the handful of people I have met who cheated, it comes down to getting something from the other person that they are not getting from their significant other. Either a specific sexual act, feeling neglected or taken for granted, or feeling bored in their relationship. I want to add that I am not blaming the person who was cheated on. I am just sharing what cheaters have told me. As far as trying to work through it, this is something only you can decide. If it were me, I would not try. You saw how he handled temptation. He will likely fail to resist temptation in the future, but will be more careful next time. Life is too short, and my time is too valuable to give to people who are not in line with me. I'm sorry this happened to you. Hang in there. Story 26. I did on an epic scale. I'll tell you my sorry tale. Let me start by saying at the beginning of the relationship, I'd never thought I'd cheat on my beloved wife. At first, I was convinced she was the one and I adored her. After about a decade of marriage, I was pretty successful in business and would be considered rich. At some point, she became very resentful of the amount of time I was putting into the company. We went on holiday for a week. I flew back on Wednesday, returned on Thursday for a huge meeting, a massive opportunity. She refused to even sleep in the same room as me. Around this time, when I started telling her I loved her, she would only respond with, I know you do. My heart was breaking. I took the family to Australia, first class, top suites, everything. I told her I was unhappy because our sex life was dead. She said it was my fault. I knew we had a major problem that wasn't temporary. We went 9 months without intimacy. 2.5 years later, I sent her a pleading email. I had gone to the doctor to try and be chemically castrated, but he refused. I knew the marriage was over, and it was just a matter of time. I decided to cheat. My reasoning was that if I did and got away with it for a couple of years, the children would be older and better able to handle the inevitable divorce. It was a pragmatic answer to a pragmatic problem. The number of women interested in an affair was incredible. Business class flights to Paris, staying in the top suites of the Shangri-La, were a powerful draw. I went through 2 or 3 women until I found somebody perfect, Blonde, blue-eyed, smart, switched on. I fell in love with her. She always kept me at arm's length, saying I was married, but I knew she loved me. I also had another woman who was crazy about me. How can a woman in her 30s fall in love with a man in his 50s? It happens. We embarked on incredible sexual adventures. Role play, threesomes, sex parties. She loved and adored me and would do anything for me. She bought me MDMA, which she gave me for my birthday. My wife decided to try and repair things. However, the genie was out of the bottle. I could not leave this hedonistic life. The dull, drab, boring, infrequent sex she offered might have been okay if we had gone back to that, but it couldn't match what was happening outside anymore. I always knew this was going to come out. I expected a total meltdown, her heart broken. Did I feel bad about that? Not really. I thought I had been treated so badly for so long that while two wrongs don't make a right, it was kind of payback. I was ready for it to come out. I had a luxury apartment in a country where I did business. When it came out, I stayed a night at a hotel in my hometown, flew to my other country, and took a few weeks or months to adjust. My wife found out and did nothing. I don't know why. The cynic in me thinks the company will be sold, and several tens of millions will come my way, so she is holding out for that. Maybe she is happy the sex got outsourced. She seems to still love me and tells me regularly, but ultimately does nothing for me as a wife. I pay the cleaner, do the washing, drive the family wherever they want. I give her money so she has a good life. I just got back from a family holiday today, full 5-star luxury. She didn't even thank me. As we walked through the door, she said she wants to redo the kitchen. That is an abridged version. Story 27. Yes. I was unfaithful to my late ex-wife. She was diagnosed with cancer 18 months after our divorce was finalized and passed away 6 months later. Why? I do not have a good excuse. I was a sex addict in an unhappy marriage, so I fell back into old habits. I could go on and on blaming my late ex-wife, but that is just smoke. My decisions and my behaviors were my own. I am not proud of it, and there was no good excuse. I will say that I should have divorced her 5 years earlier after she did something very hurtful. So much so that it would have been less painful if she had cheated. I just snapped and went back to what was comfortable, my addiction. Only this time it came back tenfold. The only bright side was that I was so out of control that I knew I was heading for a bad end and finally got good help. She knew none of it when she passed. At some point after our divorce, when we were friendly, I planned to tell her. But she got bitter and unfriended me when my now wife and I became serious. Then she was diagnosed with cancer, so I never told her. The only people outside myself who knew or know are my therapist and my now wife. My wife knows everything. I would never cheat on my now wife because I truly love her. We have a happy and healthy relationship. We communicate, and most importantly, we have real intimacy, not just of the sexual variety. She is my person. Story 28. I want to suggest that flirting with people while in a relationship can help you get in the mood to have sex with your partner. Your situation seems to have gone beyond simple flirting in a coffee line or with an acquaintance. Story 29. No, I was a supervisor on the night shift before I was 30. A couple of women offered sexual favors to get onto the first shift or to get out of unpleasant jobs. I turned everyone down and then reported them to human resources. Story 30. Your last sentence, in my opinion, contains the answer in the sentence's first half to the question in the second half. It might be worth saving the marriage depending on the reason. It depends largely on honest communication about the reason. At least, honest communication will enable an amicable divorce. Story 31. For me, unfortunately, it was a lack of attention. I felt like we lost the love and dating aspect. It's always like, don't forget to date your wife. But at the same time, I didn't feel like I was getting any attention. Reconciliation for me was a waste of 3 years because I was the only one putting in the work. I think it's possible, but both parties have to agree to work on it and actually work because it takes effort. Again, these are just my feelings and reasons. There are always two sides to the story. Unless your husband is just a bad person, then walk away tomorrow. Story 32. Lack of sexual intimacy. Not feeling desired. not feeling respected, physical and mental health changes. Any of these, or a combination of them, can lead a man to look outside his marriage. I stayed physically, mentally, and emotionally faithful for years, but once I finally understood that she just did not want me. Story 33. You will get black and white answers on Reddit, such as, leave him immediately and all that. In my case, it was because I was not comfortable in my own skin and needed external validation, or in fact any validation, to feel better about myself. My parents died when I was a child, and I moved about a lot, so it is ingrained in me to never feel safe with someone and not put all my eggs in one basket. I have done a lot of therapy since and a great deal of introspection. I would never cheat again. My partner and I tried to work through it for a while but are currently taking space from one another. I suggest you do that as well. Reddit is not real life, and as I say, you will get many people here who think there is only one answer to their partner cheating on them. If you want to work through it and your partner is trying to get to the bottom of what they have done and facing it head on, there is a possibility you will have a hard-earned but better relationship going forward. It will not be easy, though. Story 34. I cheated for the same reason you do not choose to eat even the most amazing steak every single night for dinner. Variety. Story 35. Cheaters cheat because they are selfish. If cheaters face no consequences, then expect another cheating episode. Story 36. Behavior is communication. What is the communication? Maybe intimacy is lacking, or maybe something else. It is salvageable if you want it to be. Story 37. I was not unfaithful, but I had a coworker harass me to the point where she threw herself at me one night. I gave in due to temptation, ego, and part of me thought she would quit once she got what she wanted. Once she had her hand in my pants, I realized I could not move forward. It just was not right. I did everything to stop it and finally succeeded. The temptation came from human nature and lustful thinking. At that point, we were not as intimate and exciting as we once were. My flaws and weakness during a vulnerable time, combined with someone literally throwing themselves at me sexually, resulted in a bad decision. I am remorseful and better than that now. Talk it out. It is human nature to make mistakes, and no one is perfect. I think reconciliation can be considered in most cases, but not all. Story 38. She kept ignoring my boundaries, so I got tired of respecting hers. You can downvote or criticize, but I don't act out of line until they do first. I'm petty enough to take the time to show them a lesson because I'm sure the person after me will want someone who listens and respects them so they don't end up making the mistakes I did. Even if he doesn't have the capacity to be difficult like me, he still doesn't deserve to have no peace in his relationship. So either we act right with each other, or you will be demoted. I have been in too many relationships where respect was the last thing on their minds until it came back to haunt them. Story 39. I cheated on my girlfriend. I had no reason. The idea of having two women with whom I could have sex anytime I wanted was just too exciting. Later, she found out, but our sex life improved after we talked about it honestly. I like the female body and have a strong sex drive. It is just a physical thing for me and does not mean I do not love my girlfriend. Story 40. You are more likely to salvage your relationship with a cheating man than a cheating woman due to differences in sexuality between the genders, but that does not mean you should. Regardless of wiring or motivations, cheating is a severe disrespect, and you should not be with anyone who disrespects you that much. Story 41. Men are wired to spread our seed, and variety is the spice of life. That is not excusing anything for what it is worth. Story 42. Monogamy is unnatural. Many people accept it as a lifelong contract because they believe they will be able to adhere to it. Then, when someone new and attractive shows interest, they try to have it both ways. You should propose opening up your marriage. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.